श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस बचरनारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। ISKCON फाउंडर आचार्य विभूति आचार्य से होल वर्ल्ड जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया। भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, Text 58. Kim dussaham nu sadhunam, kim dussaham nu sadhunam vidusham, kim apekshitam, vidusham kim apekshitam, kim akaryam kadaryanam, kim akaryam kadaryanam, दुस्त्यजम किम धृत आत्मनाम, दुस्त्यजम किम धृतात्मनाम, किम दुस्सहम नु साधूनाम विदुषाम किम अपेक्षितम, किम अकार्यम कदर्यानाम दुस्त्यजम किम धृतात्मनाम, किम दुस्सहम नु साधूनाम विदुषाम किम अपेक्षितम, किम अकार्यम कदर्यानाम दुस्त्यजम किम धृतात्मनाम। Him, what is? Dussaham, painful. No, indeed. Sadhunam, for saintly persons. Vidusham, of learned persons. Kimapekshitam, what is dependence? Kim akaryam, what is forbidden work? Kadaryanam, of persons in the lowest grade. Dustyajam, very difficult to give up. Kim, what is? Drita Atmanam, of persons who are self-realized. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhagavatam Arvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. What is painful for saintly persons who strictly adhere to the truth? How could there not be independence for pure devotees who know the Supreme Lord as the substance? What deeds are forbidden for persons of the lowest character? And what cannot be given up for the sake of Lord Krishna by those who have fully surrendered at his lotus feet? Can you repeat the translation? What is painful for saintly persons who strictly adhere to the truth? How could there not be independence for pure devotees who know the Supreme Lord as the substance? What deeds are forbidden for persons of the lowest character? And what cannot be given up for the sake of Lord Krishna by those who have fully surrendered at his lotus feet? Purport. Since the eighth son of Devaki was to kill Kamsa, one might ask what the need was for Vasudeva to deliver the firstborn child. The answer is that Vasudeva had promised Kamsa that he would deliver all the children born of Devaki. Kamsa, being an Asura, did not believe that the eighth child would kill him. He took it for granted that he might be killed by any of the children of Devaki. Vasudeva, therefore, to save Devaki, promised to give Kamsa every child, whether male or female. From another point of view, Vasudeva and Devaki were very pleased when they understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna would come as their eighth son. Vasudeva, a pure devotee of the Lord, was eager to see Krishna appear as his child from the eighth pregnancy of Devaki. Therefore, he wanted to deliver all the children quickly so that the eighth turn would come and Krishna would appear. He begot one child every year so that Krishna's turn to appear would come as soon as possible. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport and translation to Canto 10, Chapter 1, Text 58 of Srimad Bhagavatam. होमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमावो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे। Kim dussaham nu sadhunam. Sadhunam, for the saintly persons. Kim dussaham. What is painful for saintly persons who strictly adhere to the truth? Kim dussaham nu sadhunam. That means for a saintly person, if he is following the path of truthfulness, there is nothing painful for him. Just to stick on to the path of truth, one may have to face many painful conditions, situations, but he does not consider it as painful. So, what is painful for saintly persons who strictly adhere to the truth? That means those who strictly follow the path of truth, for them there is nothing painful in life. Although for an ordinary person like us, sometimes we give up truth so that things become comfortable. Otherwise, you'll be in great trouble. But for them, there is no pain. Vidusham kim apekshitam. They may be restricted. A saintly person may be restricted, may be controlled, may be dictated from performing his Krishna conscious duties. But Vidusham kim apekshitam means for learned persons, here learned persons refers to pure devotees because they're actually learned. Jnanavan mam prapadyate sa mahatma sudurlabha. Krishna describes a learned person is a devotee. So Vidusham kim apekshitam. Those who are pure devotees who know Supreme Lord as the actual substance, meaning as everything. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Supreme Lord is everything. How could there be no independence? Apekshitam. Kim apekshitam. How could there be no independence? That means nobody can stop the move or action of a pure devotee. If he desires something, Jai Krishna Balaram Prabhupada. If he plans something in the service of the Lord, it must happen, it will happen, he will make it happen. He is independent. No police force, no legal force, no material forces can stop him from serving Krishna. He is fully independent. How could there not be independence for pure devotees? You see, we will try to understand this with some examples. Then Kim Akaryam Kadaryana. This is an interesting statement. Kim Akaryam Kadaryana. Kadaryana means somebody who is of a very low character, very low in character, referring to a human being. Kadaryanam, somebody who is of a very degraded, asuric, demoniac, sinful people. For them, Kim Akaryanam, what action is forbidden? Meaning, they will do any damn thing also without any consideration. They can smoke, they can drink, they can womanize, they can do anything and everything. There's no stopping them. Apparently, the second and third line looks to be the same. For a pure devotee, nothing stops him from doing his seva to his Lord. And for the lowest person, he also does not care about the consequence, about dharma, about the Lord's instructions, scriptures, saintly persons, sadhus. He does not care. If he wants to do something, he just goes ahead. Even the most degradable acts, he will not mind doing. Everything he will do. Dustyajam kim dhitatmanam. And finally, Sukadeva Goswami is saying, Dustyajam. What is it that one cannot give up for the sake of Lord Krishna? Drita Atmanam, one who surrendered unto the lotus feet of Krishna. Dustyajam kim drita Atmanam. One who is a pure devotee of the Lord, who has fully surrendered onto the lotus feet of Krishna, what is it that he is not able to give up? Everything he is able to give up for the sake of Lord Krishna. We have reservations. What is comfortable? We are doing presently our stand of bhakti is Anukula Bhakti. Anukula Bhakti, as Rupa Goswami said, is what is Anukula for Krishna. That's called Anukula Bhakti. But our bhakti is Swa Anukula Bhakti. What is comfortable for me, I will do. That is our present standard. It's okay for me, comfortable for me, I will do. Otherwise, we generally don't do. But here it is said, Dustyajam kim dhrita atmanam. What cannot be given up for the sake of Lord Krishna? For one who has surrendered fully onto the lotus feet of Krishna. This is a very special statements of Shukadeva Goswami. And this is the standard of Vasudeva. First, second, and last line. Third line is Kamsa's. Now let's see the first part. Kim dussaham nu sadhunam. What is it that is painful for a saintly person who strictly adheres to the truth? There is nothing painful. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, one place, he has said, it's a very nice statement, but these are all for our inspiration and for our prayer and meditation. Because without the blessings of the Acharya, we will not be able to raise our standard of devotional service to this standard. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, whatever is very painful to do or to achieve, I take it as great pleasure. If it is going to please my Lord, satisfy my Lord, and if it is to execute the service to my Lord, I take it with great pleasure. I take those activities with great pleasure and execute them. See, this is the realization of the Acharyas. We see in practical devotional service, in practicing Krishna consciousness, or even in running a Krishna conscious organization, and practicing Krishna consciousness and preaching Krishna consciousness in this world is very difficult. That might be a fact. But for devotees who are dedicated, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of the standard of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, for them, every moment, every challenge, every difficulty is opportunity to serve Lord Krishna, and they accept it with great pleasure. We will discuss about 8 examples in this regard now. Quickly we'll try to discuss. Srila Prabhupada, when he went to the West in the early 1960s, it was mid of 1960s when he was establishing Krishna Consciousness Society. One of the apparent good suggestions Prabhupada received from an Indian sannyasi living in the West who had gone before Prabhupada was that when Prabhupada stepped in US, he suggested, Swamiji, with folded hands and with good heart and good intention, I would like to submit one suggestion. If you wear this saffron dress and then you move around, I think you will not be well received. Better you adapt to the fashion of Westerners. What is that? Pant and shirt. He was requested. And by the way, he said, Swamiji, I have already adapted. So, so I am accepted therefore in this society. It will be nice if you can also adapt to pant and shirt. Prabhupada said, no. I will not give up the tradition, the culture, the Vaishnava code of dressing. There are Vaishnava codes for everything. For dressing, for talking, for everything, every act. He said, I'll not give up. He said, you wait and see. I will make them wear our Vaishnava dress. And Prabhupada did do that all over the world, isn't it? This first. So, what is painful for saintly persons who strictly adhere to truth? See, one example. Second example. Again in Prabhupada's life, when Srila Prabhupada, when the movement started picking up in the West, and there were some sincere followers, very few sincere followers, slowly it is picking up, gaining momentum. Prabhupada started introducing the four regulative principles in ISKCON. Is the history I'm saying. He's introducing the four regulative principles. And he started giving initiation some few Westerners. And the word was fast spreading that Prabhupada was giving Diksha. That was first year after establishing ISKCON. That's about 1967. It was on a Janmashtami day. But anyway, Prabhupada gave the first time he introduced initiation in ISKCON. 66 he registered the ISKCON society. 67 on the Janmashtami day he did the first initiation. But so around that time when Prabhupada was strictly following the standards, implementing the standards among his disciples who want to become his disciples, that they should follow four regulative principles. No meat eating, number one. Number two, no intoxication. Number three, no illicit sex or illicit connection with women. And number four, no gambling. And many of them again submitted a proposal to Prabhupada. Swamiji, if you're so strict, then I think you will not be able to make even one disciple and follower. You may have to return back to India without making one disciple. Prabhupada said, nothing doing. I will not mind going back to India without one disciple or one sincere follower, but I will not compromise on these four regulative principles. And you can see Prabhupada went on to initiate 10,000 Westerners. You see, following four regulative principles, including no coffee, no tea, no onion, garlic, to that standard. Even above that, he had went in offering prasadam, bhoga to Krishna and accepting prasadam. He made the Westerners strictly adhere to Krishna prasadam only. He succeeded. Then, third example, again in Prabhupada's life. When Srila Prabhupada, 1965, he stepped in Boston. 66, it took 1 year of great transcendental struggle for Prabhupada to establish the Lord's movement in this world of Maya. 66, he officially went on to register in the name and style International Society of Krishna Consciousness. It's an acronym, ISKCON. Just at that time, when Prabhupada was talking with one person there in the US, they suggested, again, with good intention, Swamiji, with great humility, we would like to submit one request. Why not make it International Society for God Consciousness? That will be very easily accepted by everyone. Prabhupada said, no, because God is Krishna. If you don't know, I have come to teach you. No compromise. Said, I am going to register it as International Society for Krishna Consciousness only. And he did it. And we know all over the world, ISKCON means it's a certain, it has got its own trend and stands apart from everyone, even today in the world. This is spiritual pride, nothing material. So Prabhupada was so particular. What is painful for saintly persons who strictly adhere to the truth? The truth is, God is Krishna. If you don't know, what can I do? You should know. You come, I'll teach you. How can I cheat by telling Krishna is not God? Then you bring somebody else as God. Let us understand. Let us analyze. Who is that God? It will be Krishna only. You may call him by that name or not. How can you say no? And Acharya means teacher. How can he tell lies for the sake of public? Then, somebody said, Prabhupada, quite a few people said, actually, Swamiji, you are very conservative. So you have to be little, open-minded. Prabhupada said, and you will not succeed. So Prabhupada said, no, I cannot give up the Vedic standards and principles and all these things. And he continued in that same way. Then we also know Prabhupada This is the fifth instance. Many yoga societies would invite Prabhupada also to speak because he was well known. They were appreciative of his teachings and all these things. So many yoga societies also would invite him. And so many Swamijis also would invite. Those days, some famous Swamis, whatever, so-called Swamis. And Prabhupada would very boldly present Bhakti Yoga, Lord Krishna's teachings from Bhagavad Gita very openly, without any compromise, and proclaim Bhakti Yoga as the highest yoga, even above Karma, Jnana, Ashtanga Yoga, everything. Because that's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Actually, you can see Prabhupada, the way he preached Krishna consciousness, it was very direct, very open, uncompromising. Uncompromising. You can see any of his lecture, even in Massachusetts Institute of Technology, many universities, Ohio University, they're all world-class universities. Top-ranking universities in the world, even those days. Even in those universities, where by and large, there's no much appreciation about religion, God, and all these things. Prabhupada would, when he was invited for talks, devotees would arrange. Boldly, he would speak on Krishna consciousness principles directly from Bhagavad Gita. He would quote, directly taking a verse, and he would preach about Krishna, about spiritual world, about chanting, you're not the body, everything. As we give a Bhagavatam class, you can see any of the lectures Prabhupada in Ohio University, Harvard University, Boston, MIT. The standard, just like he gives a Bhagavad lecture, same way he would present that. Uncompromisingly, without any fear. See? This is the realization. Because I know the truth. Therefore, I'm talking. So when somebody is a realized soul, then there is no fear anymore in life. There's no fear. Somebody who is a God-realized soul, there is no fear. Of people, of oppositions, there's no fear. He knows I'm speaking the truth. What fear is there? Why should I fear? Why should I fear? Rather, I'm helping them and uplifting them from ignorance and suffering. He'll be very glad, not afraid. Then, the sixth instance, Prabhupada promised Krishna quite a few places. Prabhupada promised Krishna that he will give a nice temple for Krishna. He promised this in Bombay. He told Krishna openly to Radha Rasvihari, I build a nice temple for you. Please give me some time. We will, if time permits, discuss some pastimes from that temple. How Prabhupada established that ISKCON, what great trouble, risk he took. Then again in Vrindavan, the Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan, Prabhupada promised to Krishna, Krishna, please wait for some time. I'll give you a nice temple for you. And lot of problems and complications were there, even for coming up of the temple. Prabhupada persevered. So what is painful for saintly persons who strictly adhere to the truth? He gave a promise to Krishna and he fulfilled it, and then only he left the planet. Then is the seventh instance in case of Prabhupada again, and also his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Prabhupada, following the footsteps of his Guru, they both fought against casteism and liberally gave Krishna consciousness to every sincere seeker without discrimination of caste, creed, religion. And because of this, there was a lot of opposition and enmity being created. But they didn't compromise. They didn't give up. So many people became enemies of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Prabhupada. So many. In fact, during Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's time, there were many who plotted to kill him. And they bribed the local police in Bengal in Mayapur actually. They bribed the local police to kill Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But he took the money. No, he didn't take the money. Then that night he came and told Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, actually Maharaj, some people had come offering us bribe money to kill you. But we said, we generally do. He said that actually we can't do this for sadhus like you. He came and told, because of your heavy preaching. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he would give Diksha, Vaishnava Diksha, Brahman Diksha, even to Brahmanas who are not by birth. That means to other caste people also he would give initiation, Harinam initiation, Brahman initiation, and elevate them in their Krishna consciousness, in their spiritual life. This was very much to the disliking of the local Brahmins. But they didn't compromise. Same with Prabhupada also. Many Indian caste Brahmins criticize, come down on Prabhupada very heavily for this, giving Westerners Harinam Diksha and Brahman Diksha and all. But he didn't compromise. With great mercy, out of great mercy, he gave initiation to everyone. He's so merciful. Then, the last example is Srila Prabhupada, because his guru ordered him to go to the West and preach. Prabhupada says, actually, I was living very comfortably in Vrindavan, in Radha Damodar temple. About 6 to 7 years, if I'm right, he was there in Vrindavan before he set out to the West by a cargo ship, more than 40 days journey in the sea. So about 6+ years he was in Radha Damodar temple. Yeah, Krishna Malaram, Gonitai Prabhupada. So he said that everything is well set in Vrindavan. Every day he would have darshan of Radha Damodar. He would do his translation of Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And he would give lecture. Few people would gather in the Radha Damodar temple courtyard. He would get the prasadam of Radha Damodar also. He would cook also. The pujaris also would give some special prasadam sometimes to Prabhupada from the altar of Radha Damodar ji. So life was going very nicely, very comfortably. But Prabhupada took all the trouble voluntarily to go to the West at an advanced stage, take all the risk of his life to a place which is unacquainted with Vedic culture, Vedic life, Vedic understanding, Vedic practices, unacquainted, to a totally foreign land, foreign people, firmly believing on the words of his Guru and the holy name, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Prabhupada says that. And Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, only on the strength of the holy name and Srimad Bhagavatam, I have set out to march on the land of the non-devotees. He prayed to Krishna, Krishna, why are you sending me to this terrible place? It is hell actually. But if you are taking me there, you must have some purpose. So please, my Lord, I leave this mission fully onto your lotus feet. Whether I'm a success or a failure is left up to you. But I will execute my duty, fully depending upon your holy name and Srimad Bhagavatam. That if these non-devotee people, they take up the chanting of Hare Krishna seriously and receive the message of Bhagavatam in a submissive manner, I am sure this Bhagavatam message will create a revolution in their hearts and they will become devotees. On that faith, I am going to US. And actually, this did happen and succeed on the faith of his Guru and Srimad Bhagavatam and the strength of the holy name of Krishna, the Hare Krishna mantra. So then, Vidusham Kim Apekshitam. How could there not be independence for pure devotees who know the Supreme Lord as the substance? So, that means a pure devotee, he is free to do what he intends to do for his Lord. As I said earlier, no force can stop him. No force can stop him. This is true for every sincere follower of the Acharya. If we follow Srila Prabhupada, then the entire spiritual world force, Guru Parampara's force, will be in front of us, even behind us. That depends on our purity and strength of following Srila Prabhupada. That requires tapasya to follow Srila Prabhupada very strictly. That is our tapasya, not cutting down on eating and sleeping. That is also tapasya, no doubt. You cannot overeat or indulge in sense gratification in the name of honoring, in the name of eating prasadam. But otherwise, the tapasya which we have is to strictly follow the orders of the Acharya. Being loyal, being dedicated, being committed. Every breath, you should live for the Acharya. This is a great tapasya, devotional tapasya. So, the whole force of the Guru Parampara will be present. Even now it is there. Entire force will be there with us to support our seva to Lord Krishna. So, Prabhupada had made so many plans in executing Krishna consciousness, and one by one, everything he fulfilled. He fulfilled all the promises concerning him also. At his very birth, there were many prophecies concerning Prabhupada that he will, at the age of advanced age of 60, that means around 70 years, in his Jata Karma, it was predicted he would cross the seas and establish 108 Krishna temples across the world. He fulfilled that also, that prophecy. So like that, so many prophecies Prabhupada came out to fulfill. So nothing can stop him. He, a pure devotee of the Lord, does not buckle to surrender to any difficulty or pressure tactics. He doesn't buckle down. That's why I said, so many difficulties in maintaining Krishna conscious centers, maintaining devotional practices in Kali Yuga. Prabhupada uncompromisingly maintained all the standards to the highest standard. See? So he is independent. He is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities nor any facilities of this world. In the 12th chapter also, Krishna says, one who is very dear to him, Krishna says that he is carefree. He is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities. These are all qualities, Krishna says, of devotees who are very dear to him. You can see all of that in Prabhupada's life. He practicing and implementing them. He was not dependent on any ordinary course of activities. Otherwise, with $3, how can you go to America? There was no reference when he went to America. Will you go? Not for, he didn't go for business tour. He went for something which was not very much appreciated. Spiritual life. That too in the form of Krishna consciousness directly. Who's the taker there, you tell me? There was no invite for Prabhupada. Nobody invited him. But on the order of his Guru, he went. $3. Bhagavatam, some few books. And Kartala Mridanga, that's all. Chaitanya Charitamrita he had. That was the Bengali translation. Bengali text for his own reading. Bhagavad Gita, that's all. Nothing else he had with him as his possessions. His real possession was the holy name, Srimad Bhagavatam, and his guru's words. Okay? So he succeeded. So he didn't depend on any material arrangement. All through and through his life, he didn't depend on any material arrangement, any persons. He simply depended on Krishna and his spiritual master. So even for his maintenance, there was nothing uh, fixed. How would he get his next meal? He didn't make any arrangement, carrying some provisions. I remember when I was a young boy, every summer, my grandfather and my parents would take me for some pilgrimage. The entire family would go. Every summer we would go, April, May. And I remember very clearly. So they would pack a lot of provisions. That was a custom system those days. We would used to travel by train, and they would carry a lot of provisions, a lot of items in the train for cooking because we would not eat out. So that was a different thing. So they would carry big boxes, they would carry. So arrangement was there. But Prabhupada didn't carry any prasadam. Today we are little more improved on that. We carry packed prasadam. But no such arrangements are there. Today you go anywhere, by Prabhupada's grace, ISKCON temple is there. Practically every major city in India and outside India. You can depend on ISKCON. Prabhupada depended on Krishna. There was no prasadam arrangement. Nothing was there. Meat was available. Enough. Everywhere in the West. You can just imagine. So like that. So he is not dependent on any arrangement. He is simply depending on Krishna. And Krishna didn't make Prabhupada starve either. Krishna will supply. So we will discuss the other 2 points a little later. We're running short of time. So like this, if we are devotees of the Lord, then it will be very desirable. Krishna will take care of us. We should have a firm faith on that arrangement of Krishna than the material arrangements. Krishna will make arrangements. He will direct us and facilitate those arrangements in his service. Should have firm faith in this. And Vasudeva had that firm faith on Krishna. I'll stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.